reconnaît que il n'est pas capable de moyens pour te payer et premier mois par an, bon, nous chercher moyens entre nous-mêmes, nous aider le pays premier mois par an.
Okay, it's not something that we can do all the time, but we had helped someone who had housing needs, and we helped that person to pay for the first few months.
Et si tout est possible, nous avons un monde qui est capable de nous pas d'avouer pour un monde surtout sur un petit tout et petit monde et tout pas d'électricité la caillou, pour l'électricité pour le couper, pour nous autorité dans fin mois, si c'est possible tout nous aider.
Okay, if you have small children and you have issue with your light bills, we don't want you to stay in the dark, we will try to help.
Et juste pour nous faire connaître que en sectionné, les gens qui sont intéressés pour sectionner, ils vont moi qui ils vont ouvrir encore pour les gens qui ont besoin d'appliquer pour sectionner. Et si nous avons besoin d'informations, nous avons contacté FACA.
For those of you who need help with Section 8, they are going to reopen. If you need more information, you can get in touch with FACA.
C'est tout que nous couvrons pour social. Donc, si je ne sais pas si nous avons ajouté.
I think that's about it for the social area of what we do. If my husband has anything else to add.
Okay, 5 is a social. Maintenant, on va ajouter ça à la partie sociale.
I want to add it to the social part.
Nous aider les gens à faire travail tout.
Okay, we help people find work also sometimes.
Moi, j'ai une compagnie qui toujours travaille avec moi.
I have a company that works with me.
Même si je n'ai pas parlé avec eux, pas travailler.
Even if the person doesn't speak English, they help them work.
Si je n'ai pas un côté pour le rester tout,
If the person doesn't have a place to stay also,
je connais pas le côté pour lui.
they used to give them a place to live also.
Je connais seulement chargé. Il était free après.
It used to be free,
Mais nous connaissons comment nous marier.
but we know how people are.
Ils ont gâté.
They spoil that.
Quand il y a un cas chargé, on a peut-être 50 ou 60 dollars par mois.
Now they may charge the person from 50 to
Juste pour arrêter là.
60 monthly to stay.
Ça toujours là, et si nous connaissons pas de monde qui a besoin, nous allons faire la connaître.
That still stand. If you have anyone who's in need, please let us know.
La raison que fait Taka te vin camper dans la communauté,
The reason why Taka stood in the community,
je ne crois pas pile nous-mêmes là, parce que je connais.
I believe many of you here should know.
Par un côté où passer, dans l'Amérique, par une organisation qui peut défendre le peuple.
There's not a place in America where you go, there is not an organization to defend its people. When I check around here, I don't see we have any such thing.
C'est raison ça que je me campé, moi je checker avec tout leader dans la communauté.
That was the reason why I checked with all the leaders in the community. I saw it was necessary to have that type of organization. And believe me, if you want to, we are struggle, but we help. We've helped in many places that we would not believe ourselves. You may not come to get help, and other people do need the help. And I believe you here, they have somebody else who needs that type of help. Don't wait till you are sleeping to fix your bed. Yes, we may not do it every day. But every now and then we receive a phone call that can save the person a lot of money.
Parce que nous là.
Why? Because we are exist.
Nous besoin peuple haïtien en tout viennent collaborer avec nous.
We need the Haitian people to come and collaborate with us.
Ou pas besoin ici longtemps.
You don't have to be here a long time.
Parce que c'est pas là qu'on a besoin d'amener.
Go forward.
Idée
Your
complice qu'elle a.
maybe more than money.
Idée ou à côté là, il casse avec l'autre monde.
The idea you will bring will serve somebody else.
C'est ça qu'on a besoin
That's why we need you
pour nous capables de travailler ensemble.
to work together.
Il n'y a pas qui dessert financer avec le background community.
Non,
Tout ça
bon.
c'est partie sociale.
Turn over to the sister.
Okay. I don't really have much to say. Pas vraiment bien un peu pour ajouter que office nous avons fait inauguration l'année dernière, exactement et 1 an, demain si Dieu veut a fait 1 an depuis nous avons ouvert office là et office c'est
It is so that we had inaugurated our office last year.
and it's located at 8810 Southwest 200 and the street is 125. Donc si nous besoin de plus d'informations, le numéro c'est toujours nous avons un téléphone office là. Office là pas ouvert chaque jour, mais depuis nous avons un rendez-vous.
Your office doesn't open every day, but if we have appointments,
Yes, nous prenons un appointment, nous ouvrons l'office là par appointment seulement. Donc si nous avons passé nos zones là, nous disons, oh, pour ça, office là pas ouvert, c'est parce que nous travaillons sur appointment seulement.
if you walk by and you see we are closed, don't say why we don't open. It's because we open by appointments only.
Et moi, par exemple, bon, nous sommes capables de gagner moi que nous jouons plus de monde qui relève nous aide. Parce que moi, j'ai 3 personnes qui viennent appliquer, qui m'ont demandé d'appliquer soit pour simple Medicaid.
Okay, sometimes, some months we have more calls than others.
Et si nous connaissons un monde, peut-être comme frère dit, si nous connaissons un monde qui a besoin d'aide là, nous-mêmes nous n'avons pas besoin, mais pour information, faire connaître que t'as là pour nous aider, c'est pour ça que nous là. Et
If you know someone who has a need, just let them know that we are here and that's the purpose for, to help.
ok? Et bon, par contre, si nous avons une question, peut-être nous sommes capables de rencontrer avec nous après à la fin. Si nous avons une question, nous sommes capables de rencontrer avec moi ou bien frère moi. Mais je ne vais pas oublier, parce que nous avons un monde qui supporte nous dans tout ça qu'on a fait, qui est toujours là avec nous. Il ne pas de faire un mois, mais même après. Il n'est pas un board member, mais il est toujours là avec moi. Aidez-moi s'il vous plaît, un petit mot pour moi s'il vous plaît, parce qu'il est toujours là. Il est toujours là, quel que soit. Depuis nous voyons les messages en même temps, board de pas là, nous, board member de pas là, nous gagnons ces 5 dans nous, c'est nous deux ensemble qui là. Donc, il est toujours là avec nous, il est là avec nous, et nous disons bon Dieu merci pour ça. Nous pas bien encore, comme je dis, si nous avons des questions. Oh, ok,
non, t'as pour venir dire, comme c'est pas event à lier.
Like today, it's not our event, it's not Taka's event. However,
Il y a un pile, mais il y a monde dans la communauté qui supporte Taka en pile tout.
there are people in the community.
Comme je dis, pas event parler, nous pas capable de préparer pour dire j'en ai apprécié.
Okay, we didn't bring any certificate to tell them how much we appreciate them,
Mais Taka a dit merci.
but Taka wants to say thank you.
En pile.
A lot, a lot.
Ok. So, on m'a dit, ensemble, nous. Ensemble, c'est des vistas.
Merci, sir.
du café.
More the better.
So anyway, Dakar, et comme nous déjà dit c'est une organisation sociale qui a fait un travail dans la communauté. So, c'est bon pour qu'on ait, si vous avez besoin d'appliquer pour vous, pour qu'on ait pour aller. Et si vous avez besoin de contact avec Dakar, et vous avez des cartes, vous dites, moi, je parle avec elle, mais puis je vais connecter ensemble avec vous. So, qui veut dire, parce que Dakar, avec UGOM, nous voulons comme si là, si comme c'est Dakar, nous ressources qui
There is something that one cannot give you, the other one should be able to provide.
Yes. Ok, so qui veut dire, moi, qu'on est un peu dans là, nous avons une question pour Mr. John, et c'est avec ces même nous avons un welcome, pour nous capables de welcome Mr. John pour l'immigration issue que vous gagnez, sur la besoin qu'on ait l'immigration. On y a ces moments ça pour parler, pour poser des questions, c'est pour ça qu'il est là, et nous comptons de ce que, comme nous avons besoin de Mr. John déjà, nous parler un peu, so on y a là, nous avons présenté Mr. John.
We work with people all over the world, and I'm always the only one that only speaks one language. Somehow we manage. I don't know if you're going to translate or not, but
They are good.
I would start with Rose describing me as patient. I would say sometimes I am, but I recognize it as one of the fruits of the Spirit. And we try to operate our business in keeping with the fruits of the Spirit. We're always interested in people's stories, and it's part of the reason I like doing the work we do is it's never boring. You know, we meet really interesting and different people, and that's a good thing. So I imagine the topics that are of interest today are going to be TPS and the new program that was just announced about there's no snappy name for the new program. It's a 2-year parole program. It falls under the parole category, which for people that aren't in immigration often sound like it's a criminal thing, but it's not. Parole basically is what they call a legal fiction, meaning it doesn't give you legal status, but they're allowing a person to stay here without being concerned about it. That's the best way to think about it. The first, it's a fairly simple concept in that conditions are so bad in the country that people that are in this country who are citizens of that other country, the U.S. government decides that the conditions are so bad we need to help. We don't care how they got here, if they violated any visa status, but we're going to say you can stay here because it's not safe for you to go home. So that's kind of the TPS principle. It's temporary protected status. It's offered at different times to different countries. It's a discretionary thing with the U.S. government. There are some countries, and it's gone on for 20 or 30 years, they're able to renew, but basically the program is issued in 18-month increments, meaning they just pick a date, and the Department of Homeland Security says, hey, anybody that's here from that country, that's here as of today, we're going to allow you to apply for TPS. Haiti's had a number of designations. They don't want people coming in after they announce the program. It's not to encourage more, but just to take care of the people that are here. But because conditions change and it warrants humanitarian efforts to help people, they can redesignate countries. And they've done that with Haiti, and they've done it a couple of times. The most recent one was in November of 2022. So anybody that was here, regardless of their status, that's citizen of Haiti, prior to November, they're here, physically present in the US before November 6, 2022, can apply for TPS now. That's a fairly straightforward thing. And to my way of thinking, if somebody wants to be here and they're eligible, and there's not a lot of requirements for TPS, they're foolish not to pursue that. Because it's the government telling people, we're not going to worry about you. We know who you are, we're okay with you, you have time, and you can apply for work authorization. So, that would be the first thing I tell you is if anybody is here, was here, can prove they were here before November 6, 2022, they should consider, I think, TPS, okay? The other thing that I think is probably of interest is the 2-year parole program that was just announced about a week ago. The government, everything with immigration is political, it seems like, and it's constantly changing. And personally, the way I tell it to people is you got Republicans, you got Democrats, they're opposed to each other. And within those parties, you have people who are pro-immigration and against immigration. So you've got a lot of squabbling with matters related to immigration. But because they've had some 2 million people come across the border, as you've seen on TV, probably know people. It's dangerous. We've talked to people. It's horrendous conditions. Once they're admitted in, even if they're given parole, it's a broken system. There are millions of people, and they tell you to report to ICE, and ICE offices are closed. They tell you to call, nobody answers. To go online, it doesn't go through. It's a broken system. It's a mess. Well, finally, I think they said, you know what, this looks bad. We have all these people coming in. We're not keeping up with stuff. They're at risk when they're traveling this through Mexico primarily. So let's do something different. I think the first thing started with Ukraine last year when they said we got to do something quickly for the situation in Ukraine. So they did a kind of a rushed program to just hurry and get people here and not have them process normally like you would for a visa. Then things got so bad with Venezuela in the fall, they said, you know what, we got too many people coming in, this is bad. They announced a program for Venezuela. And basically they said, you know what, we don't want you making that journey. Let's be a little more civilized about it. If you have somebody in the U.S. who financially says they'll be able to support you and help you with the transition here, we're gonna, and you do not have a visa, you have no other way to come into this country, we're going to go ahead and you tell us, you know, we can help you financially. You will fly directly into the U.S. and we have a special program at the port of entry to, right now, eligible to stay for 2 years, they can get work authorization. A way for people to travel and be a little bit more organized about this. I hate to say organized because a lot of immigration isn't organized and it's broken. There are going to be a lot of questions. When they put in programs quickly, they're putting them in for political reasons. This looks bad, we need to do something. So they're going to be unanswered questions with this. We haven't thought out all the implications. There's no fine fee for anybody to do this. 30,000 a month is the allotment per country. I think just on the surface, it's a real opportunity for people. Just like TPS was for people that were in this country at a certain time, this program is for people in those eligible countries, Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, to kind of expedite getting here in a legal manner. What happens after 2 years, nobody knows. My guess is they'll probably renew it. You know, it's always subject to change, and that's somewhere. You basically, you know, have to show income or assets if you're going to be the supporter. You just have to be legally eligible to be employed in the U.S. to be a supporter. So that means somebody who has a green card, somebody who has work authorization. If somebody has a work authorized visa, employment authorization, they can be a supporter. So basically anybody here who's eligible for employment. They're going to do security background checks on both the supporter and the person coming into the country. No surprise there. You have online forms. The forms have to be done online to submit for this. Like I said, there's no filing fee. But you still, people can do it on their own, and they have done it successfully. There's still, I think, a lot of value with somebody that does it regularly, and especially an immigration attorney, because they say that after you submit everything, even if you pass the background checks and all of that, you still have to deserve what they call a favorable exercise of discretion, which just means make us happy. We can turn you down if we feel like it. So the way you present things is very important. Typically, exactly what they're looking for, in what order, and how to support that. A lot of times people underestimate the evidence and work that's required. The example I give is we do a lot of family-based green card requests. They say, prove to us the marriage is bona fide. Somebody's married a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. Well, good people are good people, and they think, look, I'm in no trouble. And we got married, and here's a marriage certificate, here's wedding photos, what else do you need? Doesn't satisfy them. You got to overwhelm them with everything, even little things that just indicate it's a real relationship. So the evidence is always important. I told you this, the 2-year parole program it's all done online. You don't have to be an individual, which is interesting. It can be a business entity or organization, and they say people can collectively be supporters. I don't know exactly how that would work. I don't know if separate forms are filled in by 2 supporters for 1 beneficiary. It's the kind of question and things that people and attorneys will be working through pretty soon, and they're already asking questions, you know, among themselves. Attorneys have email groups, and people will say, how do you do this? What do you think they want with that? So there's still a lot of unanswered questions about it. Great opportunity, I think. The sooner, the better, although I tell people never rush. A couple of days to make sure you've got everything right and everything together is better than rushing it in and say, ooh, I got that done. And then you find out that they ask some questions and it puts you back 2 months. So I tell people, sure, you want to get going, but, you know, balance that with doing it right, okay? You have to file these petitions for each beneficiary. If you have somebody who's a sister and 2 children and they want to come here, those are 3 separate applications. At the time, anybody who's considered a minor, when the time comes for them to travel here, they have to be accompanied by a parent or a guardian, and they have to have proof of that relationship. They don't want children flying around and have that issue of, things not being done right for the kids. Once they're here, maybe I should just go through the steps on this. You're gonna file online for each person. Once they determine that everything is in order and give you the approval to proceed, they're gonna issue an email account to the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the person intending to come here to the US. They'll then, you have to download and work on a Customs and Border Patrol, CBP app, which is their way of coordinating people's travel plans. They're gonna know that the three of you are coming into the Miami airport on this flight, and they will be processed separately than everybody else coming through that port. They need to fly directly here to their final destination, is the recommendation, so some details to be aware of. They always have, again, that word discretion, that when you come in, until they tell you, okay, here's your paperwork, go on, they can still say no. Once, I think they're predisposed to this whole program is to help people. And they're gonna do background checks. Logically, when you're not criminal, this is designed to help people, it's a humanitarian thing. There shouldn't be a lot of issues at that point. I don't mean to scare anybody, but just to be clear on the process. Once they're admitted here, then they can file for work authorization. And beyond that, who knows what's next. Generally though, you're in a better position than being here in no status, being here in a visa and overstaying a visa. The question has come up, okay, so we got a call the other day, somebody, and I think it was Haiti, that she had filed for him after he had been ordered removed from the country, and there was a bar put on when he can come back in. He's approaching the 5-year bar, which means he'd be eligible to come back. He's pending in the system, and her question was, can he go ahead and apply for this program? And it looks like the answer is yes, he can. So if you have people, and it often happens with family relations, when you apply for a family member, whether you have a green card or a U.S. citizen makes a big difference, and then the family relationship makes a big difference, and the age of the person intending to come in makes a difference. Their priorities. Some people have to wait, as you probably know, a long time, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 years. Those people are waiting for a visa because the numbers are capped. So somebody that has what is called like an NVC pending matter, that is waiting for a visa, are they eligible? And it appears that they are. So it's a long-winded way. It isn't a one-size-fits-all. You gotta weigh a lot of those pros and cons. So that's an overview. I think there's opportunity for people. I said I only spoke one language. I learned 3 words today though. Merci, barbecue, free. So, I got those. Are there questions?
Yes, question.
Let me go back here to her.
Okay.
You mentioned there was a, if you're married to an American citizen, et cetera, what is, can you go a little further on that? Like, I know there are some things that if you're married to a citizen, is it a little better, not so good? What's the?
If you're married to a U.S. citizen, there's always a visa available. It's called you're an immediate family member. The way to think about this is, let's take a person. To have a spouse get a green card, the person that's here, if you will, is either a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. If you're a U.S. citizen, they say you have a spouse, we have a visa available for you. There's no cap on that.
Okay, so no cap.
So if you are a parent or a child under 21, a U.S. citizen, we'll process you as quick as we can. You're not subject to this numerical limitation. And they say, the reason we're going to do that is because it's important for us, for U.S. citizens, to have their spouse here. So if you're not in that relationship, if they say you have a green card and you want to bring a spouse here, they'll say, that's fine, but we have a number on it. You're going to have to wait. The processing times differ over time. Sometimes they have to wait. It could be a couple years if you're a green card, because you don't have that priority of being a U.S. citizen. But sometimes the processing is such that they call it current, meaning it is available. There's just no guarantee. You're going to take more time generally if you're a green card. Then you have to look at who they want to come here. And if you have somebody who's over the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen who's over the age of 21, they're going to say, you're in a different category. You're an adult now. We don't need to rush this. There's a numerical cap. So you drop down into a different category. And we're so many years behind. So here's your number. Just wait. We'll call you. You get even further down if the children are over the age of 21 and married. Because the thinking is, you're an adult, you're married, you got your own life. What's the big hurry here? So who the person is that's sponsoring, what their status is, and their relationship and factors like age and marriage is what determines how long it's going to take. I'm just saying that in terms of this new program, if you have somebody that's in that waiting phase, it may be the thing to do to still apply and come here under the 2-year program and convert, process it here. Don't know exactly how that'll happen because this process we're talking about now is called consular processing. Paperwork starts in the U.S., but then it goes to an organization called the National Visa Center that assembles the file for the embassy. If you're here, it's no longer consular processing. These factors, and they have the opportunity to come, and it makes sense for everybody. Okay.
Back to the payroll. The way you explain it, the payroll program would be the best instead of do it yourself. Like if somebody
It's like I said,
you get a lawyer.
you can. I'm not trying to be self-serving. It's kind of like anything. It's like fixing a car. Can you do it? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I break something. There's better ways than others to present matters, and that doesn't mean that and I can't even tell you, I don't know how many, like the Venezuela, how many are attorney driven and how many are successful. They just don't even have those numbers. I would say in general, it's always better because you got somebody that should have more knowledge and tools and resources and just knows how to present. But I'm not telling people it can't be done because I think it is done. The way we work, we have a lot of technology. We basically use text, but we have a software program where we work with people without having to come into the office by answering questions on their phone or computer. It has availability of Creole, French, I think like 30 languages that you can pick and answer. I would mention that we have a resource. There's something called the Good Fund, which is provides financing for immigrants. It's you need somebody to show that they're employed and they've got some kind of lease or own a house. If they do that, they're willing to pay all the filing fees and everything up front, and you have payments over 48 months if you want. There is an interest rate. For a lot of people, something we have the connection to tell people about. So, you know, when somebody says, can I do it? The honest answer is, I don't know, yeah, probably, no, maybe, how many? For some things too, I think, how important is it to you? For people that want to get married and have a life together and to be worried about $1,500 or something. My wife's not here, but I tell you, she's probably worth $1,500. But, I'm sure she is.
What do I need to come to you for you to apply for me for somebody? What do I need? That one.
I'll leave some cards here, and you can call and we'll always just sit down and talk to people and see, again, does it make sense what's going on in your case? Everybody has different factors, and, you know, the immigration stuff, you could get that high of manuals and paperwork and everything. We try to be fair, reasonable. I tell people, we've been here in town 30 years. I like to sleep at night. We have good people who want to help. We have one person who works for the Dominican Republic. So we'll do what's right, you know.
Question?
Hmm?
I'm sorry, did you have questions? Okay, just.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a few questions, but I'll try to, ask the, rest of the people, maybe ask them later. First one is, like a home program, what happens if you bring the person here and you can't take them, you lose your job, or what it is may be, would they go after your assets?
I think as a practical matter, they don't know. I think you'd look for some help right there.
What would they go after your assets is what I'm interested.
I think that's really, really remote.
Okay.
Think of how many millions of people you're talking about and the resources to follow up. They're not. They just want to have, you have a thing called an affidavit of support, which is part of the normal family application to get a green card for a family member, that as a sponsor, you have to show income and you have to meet certain what they call poverty guidelines. Because politicians want to be able to say to the U.S. taxpayers, hey, just because somebody loves somebody and wants to bring them here, don't worry, if they get public benefits, we're going to try and recover those. They never do. Everybody's too busy. Too many agencies, too much. So
Yes.
for me, you know, it's always, you're thinking about a future possibility, something, it's not a perfect world. There are going to be people and they're going to have things happen, but nobody's going to be looking, you're not going to verify this. By the time they figure out how this program is going to work, it'll be the end of the 2 years.
That's true.
And my next question is, I know someone who came here about 21 years ago on a green card, and they never renewed the card, and it expires like 10 years ago, it was good for 10 years.
So here's the deal with that. It's always advisable to physically have the card, okay, because it shows tangibly your legal presence, and employers in particular want to see that, because it's your authorization to satisfy their employment requirements. But she hasn't lost her status as a permanent resident, a green card holder. She just doesn't have the card. So we have people, it happens, we see it a lot, like Canadians. They came down here and they were, 16 with their parents, and now they're 52, and I haven't had my green card since then. We just filed to renew it, replace it. So she has no immediate concern. To me, it's much smarter to have that. Why,
But they're not illegal per se.
she's not. No. The other thing with that though is I would say, we tell people if your future is here and you believe your life is here and people that have been here that long, you kind of tend to think that they're gonna want to stay here. She should consider naturalizing. You know, it takes a little bit of work but it's manageable. English test, civics test, if she doesn't have criminal history, and if you become a U.S. citizen by way of naturalizing, immigration's done with you. They can't ask you to leave. You can vote legally. You don't have to renew your green card. People are supposed to renew the green card every 10 years. It doesn't cost that much more to naturalize.
Yes.
So,
They do it.
well, I
That's
think it's
not-
smart.
Yeah.
That's one I was.
It used to be, now it's eight hundred.
Can you enter into that program, the new program, if you are retired, say you want to
Yes.
fix retired
Yes.
income, can you do
We
it?
just did somebody here who's a retired pastor up north, and somebody from Cuba, and he's kind of lined that person up with a church already for employment, and he is retired like in the last year, but he has a retirement savings account, and they don't care. I mean, I always try when I tell people about programs to put it in, what is the government looking at? What are they thinking? They're thinking, we got too many people coming in, this looks bad, it's not safe, what else can we do? Let's get them to come in a faster way, but we want to know what's going on. And we don't want to pick up the bill for having to house everybody and feed everybody. We can't do it for $30,000 a month for 4 or 5 countries. So let's just they have to have somebody pay for it. I mean, simplify what the goals are. We only want, people that'll be safe in the communities, and we have reason to believe they'll be taken care of.
Thank you so much.
So,
You got a question about her? Don't see it.
Well, actually, I had several questions. The good thing she has those questions because someone asked me a couple of the questions that she just asked you. I haven't been following this closely, but someone actually asked me if she could file for some form of non-relative.
yes, I should make that clear. And I kind of mentioned it, that it can be a business entity or an organization, a church, I think would fall under that, that you do not have to have any direct relationship. You don't even have to be you could be a person representing an organization.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the same thing. Show us the money. Show us, yeah, a plan how you're gonna take care of it. So yes.
Next question is, does this person has to live with you or can?
No, they asked something like it says, oh yeah, this looks okay. Oh, they got a good plan. I'm not worried about this. Sign off. I'm open.
I got a question. If you, how long it take, like, if there's for the new power, you just feel for the people, how long it take for the people to come in?
I need some help on that.
The processing time for them to come from the time you file the application for them to come in here, how long is, that's what's.
Okay, we'll hear that and see that. They'll say, oh, they're already getting people from Haiti, Cuba, whatever. It'll change rapidly, and there is no processing time. They don't guarantee anything. And you can imagine, we filed for Venezuela maybe a few weeks into the program, and that was like September, October. We're still waiting now. Now you've got like 4 countries of 30,000 each, 120,000, and it could be more than that, because that's just saying how much we're gonna issue.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, in a hurry, it could become much longer. I don't know, where does this manpower come from? Think how long it takes to look at this. And that's part of, the government doing something quick. They announce that program, the media covers it, everybody's interested, everybody's excited, and then the reality is that they gotta do that work. And You can't, the only thing I say to people is, the only thing you can do to influence it is give it your best ever, do it as right as possible in the beginning. Because you don't want to get that, hey, you didn't give us enough information, please furnish the following. Because it just puts you back to the back of the pile there. So, I wouldn't even begin to guess when anything, if it went in today, it could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to 6 months.
2 years.
Yeah, it could be about 2 years. Knowing the immigration.
For real.
But you know, they have a way of these things renewing. And it depends on the politics and what else comes up in the
So that is a
world.
deadline?
They're lying?
Deadline.
Oh, deadline?
Deadline.
There's no deadline, they just have announced that, they intend to issue 30,000, parole permission for these countries each month. And I don't think there's any end of the program, they just figure that you're only authorized to do it, and it's only gonna be in effect for 2 years, so it's gonna be way busy, and it's all out until they announce that they're extending it. Who knows?
You got a question about this? He's waiting for you. You got a
Oh,
question?
she actually,
Oh, she-
she is.
Good, we're good.
She's like reading my mind.
We're good? We're good.
Yes.
Anything?
So
I'm happy
it
to
was,
answer.
it's not true for the people who already, making propaganda about people being here already.
Well, I think there are,
Really?
yes.
Oh,
I
wow.
said that-
People are really-
They have people that applied last week and they're here.
Oh, my God. You lie.
No, I mean that, but 120 people, they're here. Then they're gonna get, how many, tens of thousands? Some things happen quicker, you don't know why. There's some stuff that is aggravating that takes forever, and it's not logical, there's no reason. And everything about immigration is pretty much broken. It's just overwhelmed. So,
Why they don't fix it?
there's just not agreement on how to fix it. And when you think about it, let's say 2 million people across the border in Mexico last year or so, you've got a process, and they can't even have them checked in with the immigration court has like 1,800,000 cases pending. They can't give you dates in the future. Everything with it, which is why I think at some point, whether the politicians like it or not, they have to address some of this, and they have to make some concessions and reforms, because it's not going.
And like you said, is it aggravating because we have people waiting for 10, 14 years on the green
Yeah.
card, or what the case may be, and now coming in here like in a week? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I also tell people, because everybody always brings that up, oh, I should, if I was Mexican, I just, yeah, you can get here, you may not get work authorization, you may not get a driver's license, there's consequences, because then they get stopped, they're in traffic court, ICE can get slippery slope. It's tempting because it looks like, oh, they're here, and people are every day, everybody knows that. But life isn't necessarily easy for them, and if you're patient and do it the right way, you end up with those benefits, like the work authorization. You're better off lying, be legal. It's a better life than just being here not legal. The people that's the issue with asylum. I want asylum, I want asylum. Starting about 2009 or 2010, people came primarily Central America. They didn't have a basis to be here, and they just said asylum. And asylum is really meant to be based on persecution of an individual based on particular factors, meaning race, religion, particular social group politics. And it means family members were jailed, beaten, killed, you were. It doesn't mean I can't make money. There are a lot of gangs here, that kind of thing. But because it was an option for them to be here and get work authorization, people said, yeah, I'll file for asylum. There's over 1 million asylum cases pending now. People have been here 10, 12 years, and they can get work authorization. Trump changed it where he said, no, if you file for asylum, you're gonna have to wait for work authorization to make it less of an incentive for people to file. But we see people all the time, people file all the time that 95% of them aren't gonna work. But it buys a person time. So,
134A.
And there's no fees for that.
do what?
No fees for that.
No. There's a $50 filing fee and you have $80 biometric.
You're talking about,
I don't think there's
I'm sorry.
But I just don't want to see zero.
What? I see, no one,
Yeah,
I think one thing.
I was thinking of,
Hey,
I was thinking of TPS, so 134.
134A is free.
We have that 131, 24, 131. Do you have to file that out with 134 or you don't have to?
134A.
This is
what you
Other people can do a 134 and a 131. Advanced parole controls, humanitarian things, but this program that is this 30,000 134A. Question or done or what?
No, I have a question.
Okay.
I have a parent who's here on a visa, and then she has 2 children, so in Haiti. So how this program?
It sounds like somebody we talked about.
No, that's another one.
But it's similar, isn't it? It's similar.
I know,
So how
yeah,
does
but
it
that's,
work?
yes,
Um,
for this new program.
She's here on a tourist visa? I'm assuming?
Yes, but she's staying, trying to get, whatever that thing called.
Was she here before
Yes.
November 6th?
Yes, mhm.
Well, she should file for TPS.
Yeah, she
That would
does.
take care of her.
Mhm.
And then she needs, if she has work authorization and she has the ability to meet the financial requirements,
Mhm.
she could file for the kids. If she doesn't, and she's not gonna have a lot of history here, may not, be able to show the income, then she needs somebody, doesn't have to be related, who says, I'll sign, I'll show you a different person that's gonna step up and say, I'm gonna be responsible for making sure they're taken care of. You can file for each one of them. And you could have one, a neighbor file for the oldest one and somebody church file. Yeah, think of the program just very simply. We don't want people crossing illegally. We're gonna make a path for people. If you satisfy us, they'll be taken care of. That's basically what you're doing.
Okay, so thank you.
You got a question?
Okay.
Follow that. So,
Okay, we'll try.
if those 2 kids you're talking about are under 8, they won't be able to travel by themselves.
That's true. It may be, in something like that, you'd have to get maybe the notarized letter from the mother travel, because she's here. I don't know what it would take to have a legal guardian appointed, but, again, you think from the authority's viewpoint, we don't want people traveling around unaccompanied and at risk. So, for something like that, I would try and I'd probably do a notarized statement from the mother and give identity documents and have it notarized. And having her name somebody for travel purposes. And you have to be accompanied. So I guess if that person says, I'm willing to get back on the plane and go back, or just stay where Customs and Border Patrol keeps them until they can return? This is one of those questions I'm saying that nobody has answers to, or really knows, I think now. Can somebody authorize, escort them here, not ask to be entered into the country, and then, you know, leave the US? I don't know. I think if you satisfy them, it's part of what I call that handholding. We understand why it's important that children are taken care of. And this is why everything is right here. Here's the notarized letter, mother, copy of her passport, statement that my children, whatever, have been authorized to come here. As I'm in the United States and filing for TPS. The other possible way to do this is the mother files for TPS, gets TPS, and then she can also file for advance parole and get a travel document of her own, authorization to come back into the country. So that might be the way to do it there. You have 90 days from the time they approve you to actually come to the US, so you would have some timing issues. I'd look at those would be the two choices, I think. Either try and give them enough documents to show that they are accompanied, they're escorted by somebody who's trusted. Or you have, the other possibility would be to have a US citizen, green card holder, go over there, be authorized by the mother to escort the kids.
My question was going to be, can the US provide the mother a visa to go to Haiti, pick the kids up and come back here?
Well, it wouldn't be a visa. You can get what they call advance parole, which means we're giving you permission to travel outside the country and re-enter.
Yeah.
So it's not a visa.
Not a visa.
But that's another way to skin that cat.
Yeah.
Like I say, it depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
How long will it take to get that? And then you got these timing things. If you apply and they say, okay, the kids are approved, you got 90 days, it can take 6 months to get advance parole. There's no guarantee on that if she filed right now. So how does all that work? It's not unusual to have these kind of things, and I'm thinking now 2 or 3 different options, and it would just depend on talking more and trying to find out what makes the most sense.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. We're good?
Anybody else have immigration questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
If it is clear that if someone receives government assistance, you're not allowed to apply because they're not gonna.
It's very specific, those benefits. Certain benefits could disqualify you, but other things don't. And I don't have that list in front of me now, but it's like the SNAP program, things like that. It just depends specifically on what benefits. Again, I don't know offhand, I just know.
When you say SNAP, that means if you have SNAP, you can't, is that what you're saying?
That's just an example of a type program that may or may not. There's 5 or 6 programs, and it hasn't come up in the last week for me to look at it. So all I know is that it can be an issue, but it's not necessarily. It depends on the specifics. So I don't know the specifics. That was a good question, though.
All right, you may already answer this question.
Yeah, we talked about that if somebody has somebody pending and they're waiting for their visa, like people wait years, yeah, you can do that. My suggestion was, like a lot of this, you need to talk a little bit and think it through, because if somebody's close to getting the visa approved, especially one that gives them a green card, like most of these that you're talking